Is there a hell? Such a fear-fueled subject of conscious concern. I would be happy to offer my particular thoughts on this over-exaggerated scenario. The gates of hell, quite frankly, are but those very gates to your own garden of fear. There can just as much be hell on earth as there can be hell under heaven. It should not be seen as a state or place somewhere in a distant land of judgment and suffering, but as a state of mind within the confines of self-judgment and self-suffering. There are those on earth who so rightly conform to the belief that their life is literally hell on earth. For it is for them, in the way they choose to live their lives. They literally bring hell down upon them as they go about their lives in a state of victimhood and disharmony. There are those who completely ignore and defy any responsibility for their own lives, or the circumstances of their unhappiness, and then look elsewhere to place blame for the suffering and misery they face as a result. Most humans are the embodiment of children who play around with matches, uneducated to their own inherent powers of creation, and subsequently burn themselves by their own hand. This is so even in the spirit realms. For those who hold such strong fear-fueled beliefs, held in ignorance for a lack of education, ultimately project these as their individual experience there then upon the afterlife. Since the substance that forms the framework for the spirit realms is sensitive to thought projections, you cannot then expect to simply stroll straight into heaven if you have spent a lifetime in a state of hell. The spirit realm will always be a reflection of what you resonate within. If you do not want to experience a state of hell upon mortal death, then start creating a state of heaven upon mortal life. For you will then carry forth this state into the ether world. You will, all of you, project your own life review come your mortal end. You will be your own judge and jury upon every thought, word and deed done. There will be no one else there to force learnings and sensations of regret upon you. Your soul will realize its own wisdom in its own time to comprehend its own mistakes, and its own quality of living. For some, this can be quite a painful and upsetting insight, as they bear witness to their own misconduct upon the planet, feeling every hurt caused upon others, observing the ramifications of the greed, jealousy, hate and anger inflicted upon others. It will all be visited upon their own soul upon their passing. For those who have caused much pain and suffering of others, or even just to themselves, will potentially face a type of hell when it is revisited upon them. Not as a sort of punishment by some high-seated being, but as a means for your soul to come to terms with itself on an energy level. All souls must do this before they may gain entry into the higher states of peace, love and harmony of their soul group communities. Without this ironing out of your own energy vibration, you simply could not resonate at the required frequency to transcend into higher states of consciousness. So to say, those who upon crossing over refuse to face or accept their own actions from their mortal life, will subsequently have to remain in the lower states of consciousness, the lesser planes, until they choose to do so. Again, this is not as a punishment, but simply how the laws of consciousness work. Mass murderers who refuse to acknowledge the error of their disharmonious ways will not be permitted to walk among those souls who they have caused to return to the spirit world. This is unless they have genuinely understood the nature of their ways and have, on a soul level, sought forgiveness of themselves and of those souls who they victimized. This change of heart, so to speak, will then raise their vibration of consciousness to such a degree that they can then reintegrate into higher states of soul communion. The more loving a being you develop yourself as, the more states and potentials you will gain access to on the spiritual planes. It is for this reason it is imperative for all souls to realize their life is, in a sense, a preparation for their death. It is not enough to seek penitence for a lifetime of misdeeds upon your final breath, you have to work at it here and now.